we're going to clean the Vapor Brothers whip. And the first step, I think you can do this. Hot water. We're going to fill a tea kettle with some water here. And this is the magic ingredient. This is what it does. You could just use hot tap water, but the tap water doesn't get as hot as you can get it in the kettle. And the kettle here actually uses less than you would just coming out of the tap. So, you can heat water, can't you? There you go. If you can heat water, you can clean your whip very effectively. Okay, I have a pretty simple method for separating the two whip components. I use the edge of the counter. Put the pressure on the glass to hold that kind of against the edge of your counter, and you've got the lip underneath the counter will grab the top of the tubing, and you rotate, lift up on the glass whip, again keeping the glass pressed up against the counter so that it grabs the lip of your tubing very nicely, and you just twist this, rotate it around, pulling up, and it just separates out and slides very nicely. Easiest way I've found to separate. Now, one thing we will say, you really can't see it right there, but the screen in here is actually pretty clear and clean. It's extremely clear and clean. The whip itself is obviously, and I've gotten it good and dirty for the demo here, but I have found if your screen starts to get a buildup, that resinous buildup, anything resembling this, you're actually not extracting enough. And, you know, 3 to 4 good pulls seems to complete the extraction, and that keeps the screen clear. If I only do 1 or 2 per whip load, that's when I find I get that buildup on that screen. Much harder to clear out, and again, you're just not getting your full extraction. You're actually wasting product. So the best way to keep your screen clean, keep extracting until you don't get any more out. Now I've got these cool little forceps to use in the next step, and these actually apparently are tongue piercing or ear or other body part piercing forceps. I have no piercings. I don't know how I got a hold of these, but I did. These are very effective because you're going to be using boiling hot water, so you'll need something better than your fingers, and this works great. If you don't have that, maybe something like some kitchen tongs. These are the fabulous OXO Good Grips tongs. These things kick butt, man. These things are great for everything. So this would probably also work. A couple of forks maybe, just something so when you're using this nice hot water you don't burn the bejesus out of your fingers. That would hurt. If you can hear that whistle, the water's ready. The other implement I use is a little funnel. You'll see in a minute. At the end of the whip goes into the funnel very nicely, and that's how I will end up feeding hot water through the thin end. But here's what we'll do. I usually start with the fat end, and you just start pouring some hot water in there. And you want to try to keep a pretty good column in there. And you'll see that it will melt away the buildup and goo. One reason I like to start from the top here first and go that way is you've got a lot of goo inside that whip. If you go upside down first, you put that goo back down onto the screen, and that makes it really hard to clean. So, here's what I was talking about before. Take your funnel, put that up in the whip, and the thin end. This will now make it a lot easier to put that hot water in the other direction. Because that other end of the whip is so skinny and thin, it's really hard to efficiently get some good water in there. So this funnel will help a lot. It's just kind of reversing the flush the other way. It's good to go both ways. And right there, that's looking pretty clear, pretty clean. I can tell you right now, that screen is completely clear, and you can just see how clear that glass is. So that is a clean whip, just like that. One pass each way. This also works on the tubing part. Again, just with the hot water. Straight in there. Try to keep a good column. Fill it with a good column if you can. I tend to only go one direction on the tubing part, just because there's no issues of screens clogging or anything like that, and might as well keep it simple. So, just flush that out. Very nice. This will never get as clear as the glass, as the whip will, but it will get free for your airflow. So there that is. One of the other great things about using the nice boiling hot water is it dries pretty quickly. To help it along, I use a hairdryer. I mean, it'll dry along pretty quickly by itself, but you know, if you're hoping to use it again pretty soon, so here it is. Just right down the work. As such, and it only takes maybe a minute or so of the blasted warm air, and your stuff's dry and ready to go. And that's how I clean my Vapor Brothers whip.